The Indiana Fever take the dub over the Atlanta Dream. I don't even know where to start with this game, but this is how it ended, with the high IQ pass where Caitlin just throws it to nobody. Oh me, oh my, what a game. And I feel like I'm always saying this about the Indiana Fever, always keeping us on our freaking toes, am I right? But this was not a game that the Indiana Fever were gonna just walk in and dog walk, because the Dream are no chumps.
The Indiana Fever just survived one of the wildest games of their season, and the ending was almost impossible to believe. A missed layup, a lost shoe, overtime, a bizarre final possession, and then Caitlin Clark casually launched the ball away as the clock expired. Somehow, through all of it, the Fever walked away with the win. But the bigger story may be what Caitlin Clark is becoming, right before our eyes. This was never going to be an easy game for Indiana. The Atlanta Dream came ready to fight, and from the opening minutes, neither team could create much separation. The lead kept changing. Runs came and disappeared. Shots weren't falling consistently, and eventually, the game had to be decided in overtime. Atlanta had a huge weapon in Alicia Gray, who finished with 32 points, a career high according to the source. She kept the Dream alive throughout the night and repeatedly punished Indiana whenever the Fever started building momentum. But Indiana had its own problems. Kelsey Mitchell struggled offensively and was sitting on 18 points late in the fourth quarter. Then, with the score tied at 81 and roughly 30 seconds remaining, everything got chaotic. Mitchell received the ball and drove toward the basket. The play appeared designed to give her a chance to score the winning points. There was just one problem. She lost her shoe. Caitlin Clark recovered it while Indiana tried to call timeout. Head coach Stephanie White had reportedly been trying to get the timeout called as the action continued. Eventually, Indiana got the stoppage and drew up another play. The ball went to Aaliyah Boston. The shot missed. Atlanta suddenly had one final opportunity to win the game in regulation. And what happened next looked more like a blooper reel than a professional basketball possession. Rhyne Howard was disrupted by Sophie Cunningham, and the ball eventually found Angel Reese near the basket. Reese had a chance to finish the game, but the layup rolled away. Nalissa Smith recovered the ball and somehow missed another opportunity. The buzzer sounded. 81-81. Overtime. And while the players were trying to process what had just happened, one moment immediately started spreading across social media. As Angel Reese reacted to the missed layup, Caitlin Clark walked behind her with a small, cheeky smile. It was one of those moments that didn't need an explanation. But the game itself still had plenty left to offer. Indiana's shooting was a major concern. The Fever struggled badly from the free throw line early, and their three-point shooting wasn't much better. Atlanta wasn't exactly lighting up the scoreboard either, which is why the game remained so close. One of Indiana's biggest positives was Makayla Timpson. She produced a career-high 20 points and delivered one spectacular alley-oop that gave the Fever exactly the kind of energy they desperately needed. Caitlin Clark eventually found another gear. She finished with 26 points and 9 assists, shooting 9 for 20 overall and 3 for 10 from three-point range. It wasn't a perfect shooting night, but the impact went far beyond the numbers. Clark is starting to look different. Earlier in the season, injuries and limitations clearly affected her game. Now, her step back has become a completely different weapon. She is creating more separation, attacking with more confidence, using her handles, finding teammates with creative passes, and becoming increasingly comfortable in the mid-range. Even more importantly, she's beginning to look like a leader. Clark has increasingly been involved in huddles, talking through plays and bringing teammates together. That matters, because leadership isn't always visible in a box score. And there's another statistic that makes the MVP conversation much more interesting. According to the source, over the previous 11 games, Clark had scored 280 points, an average of 25.5 points per game, while also averaging 9 assists. Aja Wilson had 279 points over that same span, averaging 25.4 points and 9 rebounds. Those numbers don't automatically make Clark the MVP, but they make it impossible to ignore her, especially when you consider how dramatically her season has changed. While Clark continues to rise, Indiana still has plenty of problems to solve. Kelsey Mitchell has been going through a slump, and Aaliyah Boston wasn't at her most efficient. Boston still finished with 18 points and contributed 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and an impressive 5 steals, but she shot just 6 for 16. Indiana also struggled when the bench came onto the floor. The Fever were heavily outscored during stretches involving their second unit, and that could become a serious issue when the games become even more important. Lexi Hull is another concern. She signed a 2-year, $1.5 million contract, but her recent performances haven't matched those expectations. Whether the issue is confidence, coaching, opportunity, or something else, Indiana needs more production from her. And then there's Angel Reese. Reese remains one of the most dangerous rebounders in the league. Her ability to position herself under the basket and fight for second chances is remarkable. But offensively, there are still major questions. Her shot mechanics remain inconsistent, and her finishing can become chaotic. The source also points to her physical style and frequent blocked shots as areas of concern. If Atlanta wants to take another step forward, Reese's offensive development could become one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle. For the Dream, Alicia Gray carried much of the offensive responsibility. Rhyne Howard eventually finished with 17 points, but much of her production came late. If Howard gets hot, Atlanta becomes extremely dangerous, but her inconsistency puts even more pressure on Gray. For Indiana, the biggest takeaway is simple. They are winning. The Fever have now won 4 straight games. Their only loss before this streak included a 2-point defeat against the Aces, while another recent loss against the Lynx went down to the wire. That tells you something. Indiana isn't dominating every opponent. They're surviving them. And that resilience could become extremely important once the playoffs arrive. Still, the Fever cannot rely on close finishes forever. The offense needs to become more consistent. The free throws need to improve. The bench has to contribute. Boston needs to rediscover her efficiency. Mitchell needs to escape her slump. And Caitlin Clark? She needs to keep doing exactly what she has been doing lately. Because she looks like a player finally settling into her full potential. The step-backs are bigger. The confidence is higher. The passing is sharper. The leadership is becoming obvious. She is starting to control games, instead of simply participating in them. And that's why this 4-game winning streak could mean more than just 4 wins. The Fever are still a work in progress. They still have plenty to clean up. But Caitlin Clark is becoming the kind of player who can make an imperfect team dangerous. The question now isn't whether Clark belongs in the MVP conversation. The real question is how far this version of Caitlin Clark can take the Indiana Fever. Because if this is only the beginning of her next level, the rest of the league may want to start paying attention.